Welcome to beautiful Lima today. Look at sunny, beautiful Peru outside there. I'm making this channel, by the way, guys, because I travel the world a lot and I'm always in different cities, different countries. So if I'm ever in a city that you're in, let me know. We can go out for a drink, watch a Real Madrid game, chat about football. It'd be great to build a kind of Real Madrid fan community here. So, yeah, let me know. But this video today is about our lanky streak of piss. That is Thibaut Courtois. I'm only joking, but imagine if he was introduced like that when the players all run out and in goal today, our lanky streak of piss. So I'm worried about him. I'm worried about his injuries. He's probably the greatest goalkeeper that's ever lived. He's better than Schmeichel. He's better than Buffon. He's better than Neuer. I'm only messing, but I do think he is the best goalkeeper in the world right now. You could argue, his distribution lets him down a little. Alisson would have certainly the edge there, but I'm biased. I think he's the best goalkeeper in the world. I wouldn't trade him for anyone. But I've got some data here that to explain why I'm worried about him and his injuries. I've gone back the last 6 seasons and I've got the statistics here of how many games he's played. So going back from the 2019-2020 season, from that season until 2022, zero problems. He regularly played over 3,000 minutes. He played 34 games, 38 games, and 36 games respectively in the league for those 3 seasons. Zero complaints. But from 2022, we've seen a decline. And this was before the ACL injury as well. So from the 2023 season, he only played 31 games in the league, 2,790 minutes. Now that sounds like a lot, but if you compare it to the other goalkeepers around the world, I've just picked some random goalkeepers here from last season. David Raya played 3,420 minutes, 38 games, all the league games. Joan Garcia, Espanyol's goalkeeper, exactly the same. Even the worst goalkeeper in the world, Onana, still played over 3,000 minutes, 34 games in the league. So 2,700 minutes starts to not look as impressive. Then, of course, he has his ACL injury, and I think he only plays 4 games last season. I think it was 333 minutes in the league. And then this season, he's bounced back with 30 games and 2,700 minutes. So, again, down on maybe what you'd hope, but still an acceptable level of games. And my main point for this video is not to say that we should be worried about replacing him yet, but certainly we can start to manage his minutes, because as we've seen in the Champions League winning season, he can miss the whole season, come back and still have an amazing performance in a Champions League game. So I don't think he needs to be playing week in, week out, and we have a brilliant number 2 in Lunin who is more than capable of filling in. But I'm worried about him probably from the start, from next season. I'm worried about how much longer his body is going to hold up. He's a lanky dude, and if you have a look at his last 4 injuries, I've got his last 4 injuries here. So the reason I'm making this video is because he's currently out now with a back injury. That's what made me think, shit, do we have to start worrying about Thibaut? He had a muscle injury from March the 19th to April the 4th. He was out 17 days. He then had an abductor injury back in October. He was out for a month. He then also had a tear in his abductor from September the 30th to October the 18th. He was out another 19 days. So these aren't long periods of time, but if they come during a Classico, during a knockout Champions League game, this could be a big problem for us. So, and I just don't believe, with his age and with his history, he's had a sciatica problem, I believe, in his back. These problems are very difficult to overcome, and you throw in an ACL, I'm worried about him. I'm worried about how much more his body's going to hold up. So, yeah, maybe from next season we're going to have to start doing a really difficult job of replacing him. We've done a pretty fantastic job in the goalkeeper department. We had my favourite goalkeeper of all time, Iker Casillas, for many years. We managed to replace him with Keylor Navas, absolute fantastic goalkeeper. Then Thibaut Courtois comes in. At the time, a lot of the fans were against this signing. Navas had just won 3 back-to-back Champions League titles. I also didn't like how he conducted himself with Chelsea. I thought it was ridiculous. Chelsea fans hate Courtois for this. It's quite a nice ego boost that a player will be willing to ruin his career just to join you, though, I do have to say. But since then, Courtois had a dodgy first season where he was kind of playing 50-50, I suppose, with Keylor Navas. A lot of fans were still against him because they loved Keylor Navas. But since then, he has gone on to win the fans over, and no one can argue now that it wasn't a fantastic signing, especially for the price we paid. So we're going to have to try and do that again now with Thibaut Courtois, because I like Lunin, but I do see him as a number 2. I don't think he's elite to be able to replace him. So we're going to have to, maybe from next season, start to think of life without Courtois. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you're worried as well. And I'll see you on the next one. Hasta mañana. Hasta luego.